So here I'm going to say console dot write line, console dot write line, and I put a pair of parentheses, and here I can actually say $sign because I want to actually use a string interpolation expression here. So because we want to actually use string interpolation expression, we must put $sign, and then I put two quotes here, and inside the quotes, because I am going to refer to the name of my variables, here I can actually put a pair of curly braces here, and inside the curly braces I can refer to the name of my variable, first name, okay, and here after this first curly brace here I put a space, and here I can actually put again two curly braces here, and I put last name inside this second curly braces here, and finally I put a semicolon at the end of my statement. Let's run our application and let's see what happens. So just hold the control key on your keyboard down and then press on F5 key on your keyboard. So here, as you can see, actually the console is prompting us to enter the first name. Look at this value here. It says enter your first name, right? So let's actually go back to actually Visual Studio here. As you can see, first we said that we are going to prompt the user to enter their first name. So it actually executed this line of code here, and it is now executing this line of code here. So first it's going to actually read the line from the user, right? So we must actually first put a line of code here, a line of text, excuse me. First we are going to enter actually a line of text here, and it's going to actually read that line and assign it to this first name, right? So here I am going to say, for example, my name is Morteza, right? So I actually entered my first name. So now I am going to press on enter key on my keyboard, and now it says enter your last name. So it has actually executed this line of code here, enter your last name, and it is now executing this line of code here. So remember, the flow of the program is actually from top to bottom, right? As you can see, first it actually executed these codes, and then executed this line of code, and then this one, and this one, and now it is actually executing this line of code here. It wants to actually read the line for actually here, and it's gonna assign that value to the last name. So here I'm going to say, okay, my last name is Kordi, right? And then press on enter key on your keyboard, and it says Morteza Kordi. So you can see that it has executed this line of code here, console that write line. So we used a string interpolation expression here, and we put first name here inside the curly braces, and then we put a space. So you can see this space here between these two names. And we actually put last name here inside the curly braces, so you can see this last name here. And finally, we have this value, press any key to continue. So if I actually press any key on my keyboard here, the program is now finished. So in this way, you can actually retrieve data from the user and prompt the user to enter values and read those values, right? So let's actually comment out these lines of code here. So let's create a multi-line comment. So here, in order to create a multi-line comment, I can just put a slash and then put a star here. And then in order to end this comment, I just need to put a star and then a slash. Okay. So in order to create for example, I have a text here. In order to comment out this text, I just need to put two slashes here. So these comments are actually completely ignored by the compiler. The compiler is not going to actually execute these comments. So these comments are used for actually describing our codes. For example, we can provide descriptions for a specific code or for a specific program, so that other developers or other programmers maybe actually later want to look at our codes, and they will understand that what we are doing there. So for providing comments would be useful in order to actually let the other programmers or maybe yourself to be more familiar with your codes, to understand better your codes later. So it's always good to provide comments for your codes. So we have a multi-line comment here, slash star, and we actually start our comment with slash star, and we end our comment with star slash, right? So this is actually a forward slash, right? Forward slash star and star forward slash in order to end the comment. And we have a one-line comment here, so it's slash slash. So it's just going to actually comment a one line of code or text. So now let's actually just create another program. So here inside this main method here, I can actually create a variable of type, for example, integer. And the name of my variable here is going to be, for example, first number, semicolon. So again, I did not initialize this variable. I just declared this variable. As you can see, the data type of this variable is integer. And this means that I am allowed to only assign values of type integer to this variable. I am not allowed to assign a value of type string to this variable. Why? Because the data type of this variable is integer. So for example, if I want to actually initialize this variable, I cannot put two quotes and then here, for example, I cannot assign my name to this variable, right? It's not possible because the data type of this variable is integer. I can only assign int values, integer values to this variable. So I need to delete this value here, and I can actually, for example, assign a value of type integer, for example, number 10. So it is allowed. So let me actually delete this value here because I don't want to initialize my variable here.